Alright folks, welcome back. Today we've got a really exceptionally cool pistol to share with you. Kind of pistol it almost leaves you at a loss for words. I've seen 2 or 3, maybe 4 examples by this custom pistol smith, and to get the honor to hold and own one is pretty high for a guy like me who's into this stuff. This pistol was modified prior to World War II by Archibald Brinkerhoff. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. A.R. Brinkerhoff was a Los Angeles area pistol smith. He really only leaned on the highly experimental side of modifying automatic pistols, which really anyone modifying automatic pistols in the 30s, certainly it was experimental. It was all new then. This pistol is a Colt Ace, shipped to Phil Beekert Company, San Francisco, California in July of 1932. Now, you might recognize the name Beekert if you're into old Smith & Wessons and old Colts. Mr. Beekert was also a gunsmith in California. I believe he was an active service provider for Smith & Wesson and Colt. His name was also applied to the Beekert model Smith & Wesson, which I believe he designed with Smith & Wesson. But big firm out of San Francisco, back when California was really the Gold Coast for guns, and really was up until, I would say, probably the 70s and 80s. We saw lots of the great American gun firms come and go from California all through the 1900s up until, I would say, again, about the 80s. So in July of 1932, this shipped to California. In September of 1932, a gentleman by the name of F.C. Ness wrote an article about Mr. Brinkerhoff. And this article is it's not all fluff and stuff like a lot of riflemen and other reviews are today. He talks about Brinkerhoff's modification, the torsion mainspring that wraps around the hammer pin, and how that allowed Brinkerhoff to really reshape the frame to feel more like a small gripped revolver, as he puts it. He talks about shooting I believe a Colt Smith & Wesson 1917 in here, which presumably would have had service stocks on it, so small grips. And he talks about how the Brinkerhoff modified pistol he tested scored higher than an unmodified Colt 1911 45, but still did not beat the Smith & Wesson 1917. Some of that he attributes to the grip and the trigger pull, and some of that he attributes, of course, to his familiarity with the 1917 revolver. So presumably this gun was sent as new or near new to Mr. Brinkerhoff, likely in the 32-33 time frame. The gun received at that time King sights. This rear sight is an adjustable unit that is a direct replacement for the original Ace sight. It's got a rearward rake to give you a cleaner sight picture. The front sight, very interesting, has an ivory bead inset. It's not marked King. I presume that is a King's offering of the time. I don't have a 30s King's catalog to look at, but I presume that was certainly something they would have offered in the day. Of course, the frame is radically reshaped. That's what we're here for, right? It's a Brinkerhoff. You'll see the custom base plate on the magazine here to fill the void. The front of the grip strap is reduced up here and then built out about 3/8 of an inch down at the bottom. The back end, he's eliminated the original mainspring pinhole. This gun does retain the use of the original mainspring and mainspring housing and hammer strut, My thought on that is it was probably necessary to, these original Aces were straight blowback guns. It was probably required to help retard the slide so that he could keep a normal mainspring behind the hammer. But if we overlay this, you can kind of see just how much metal was moved here and added. To remove this mainspring housing, there's a spring-loaded plunger you can actuate through the excuse me, through the magazine well that pops that all out. I'm not going to do that on the video because I did it once and that was enough. Just because I had to see, I had to see the insides of this thing. But a very rare gun. I again am really lost for words just for handling it. You'll notice that the top grip bushing holes are welded shut. A lot of weld in this bottom half of this frame to get that shape down. Really a cool and exceptional pre-war custom piece. I'm honored to own it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Please follow along. We'll keep the custom content flowing here as cool guns happen in the shop. Thanks again.